Hello, this is Joanne from JP Writing Services. Today I want to talk about brand tone of voice. So what is brand tone of voice? Your brand tone of voice is the sum of everything you put out in writing about your business. It's the way you describe your business. It's the words you use on social media, on your website, in your blogs, and in other forms of writing. And it's the impression your words give your readers. So why is brand tone of voice important? It's important because it's the way you stand out from the competition. It's how you create your own personal identity, and it's how customers begin to relate to your brand. So how do you create your brand tone of voice? Firstly, we have to go back to basics. How did you create your brand in the first place? What are your core values? What do you stand for? What words would you use to describe your brand? Are you quirky, innovative, modern, fashionable, traditional, professional, helpful, caring? A lot of companies will use the same words. We all want to be helpful, approachable and caring and considerate. But how do you make your brand stand out from the next one? Try and find that point of difference, and it might be in the way that you use words. It might be a particular phrase that you use, or how you write. You might have a particular style of writing that becomes synonymous with your brand. When thinking about your brand personality, there are lots of great fun techniques you can use. For example, if your brand was a car, what kind of car would it be? Would it be a sporty convertible or a family saloon? If your brand was an animal, would you be a cute and cuddly cat or a great big roaring tiger? So your brand voice is a representation of your brand personality, but it also needs to resonate with your target audience. So who is your target audience? Who is your ideal customer? Are you aiming at a trendy 20-year-old, or is your target audience a middle-aged person? Again, the way you write about it and the vocabulary you use has to resonate with that target audience. It's no good using quirky language if you're aiming for a more professional and staid middle-aged audience. Many big brands write brand guidelines, and this will be a manual that sets out exactly how to treat the brand. It'll cover everything from the logo, the size and shape of it, how it can be used, the colours that are associated with the brand, and there'll also usually be a section on tone of voice. So let's have a look at some examples. Starbucks, for example. It describes its tone of voice as expressive and functional. And in its brand guidelines, it gives examples of when and where it will use these interchangeably. So it might be functional in the way that it describes its coffee, and expressive in the way it tells its brand story. Coca-Cola, probably one of the most well-known brands in the world, describes its tone of voice as featuring positivity, being down to earth and friendly. And again, you can see that across all the advertising it does. It always tries to play on family appeal and shows pictures of people being happy. If you're in business and you produce a newsletter, you may be familiar with the company MailChimp. MailChimp uses humour as part of its brand voice. So how do we put this into practice? So firstly, decide on the personality of the brand. Is it your personality, or does the business have its own personality? If it's you, how do you speak in real life? Do you use everyday language? Do you use contractions such as don't, there, we're, can't? Or do you spell words out in full? Do you use humour? Or do you stick to more formal vocabulary? The way you speak in real life should be the way you speak on the page. And often one of the best ways of working out how you should write is by reading it out loud. If it sounds like it's come from you, then the chances are you've got it right. What words and phrases would you say? And which ones would you never say? For example, my style is more formal, so you wouldn't catch me saying things like, "That's my bad." Do you speak quickly or slowly? The way you speak in real life, again, will be mirrored in the way that you write. So if you're somebody who's very energetic and speaks very quickly, then the chances are you'll have short, sharp sentences. Whereas if you're more considered, you'll probably go for longer sentences and have a more discursive tone. Do you use jargon? Unless you're very sure that your audience understands the words, I would advise that you don't use jargon. But again, it may be something that you're particularly known for. How do you show up when you're networking? If you come across as quirky and lively and creative on the page, you need to show up like that in real life, or you'll confuse your target audience. Similarly, if your copy is very staid and professional, there's no point trying to show up at a networking meeting with blue hair and being extremely quirky. Consistency is key, whether on the page or in person. The way you speak in real life needs to mirror what people see on the page. So brand tone of voice is the sum of everything you put out about your business. It's your brand personality in writing. It's the way you write, it's the vocabulary you choose, and it's the style in which you put things together. The key is to be consistent across everything that you do. And it also needs to be authentic. To get to the heart of your brand tone of voice, go back to basics and look at how you created your brand personality. Then make sure the way that you write and your tone of voice reflects that personality in everything that you do. Remember, your tone of voice needs to be consistent, familiar, and authentic. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a comment below and subscribe using the button below. And don't forget to hit the bell for notifications of future videos.